and they'll sit right here. The bait fish is going to be forced out, and the predators will often sit on this type of wood, this isolated wood sitting out here in a little bit deeper water on the creek channel. It's a high percentage area that we're gonna look at on a falling tide. This is a classic looking little river system. Come on out of there. This is a classic tidal river fish sitting on one of the last pieces of wood as the tide got low. Come on. Need another crank on my reel handle here. Come on up here. Got you. Now there's a little guy, not so little, nice bass, sitting on. Let's really dive into what he's on. That's a beautiful little fish. And I call this the Dean's rig. Guys, go check out my Dean's rig seminar. This is a tail-weighted stick bait. It's such a terrific tool when you need to finesse fish, when you need to drop down from a jig or a Texas rig. This little bait is a killer. And a lot of times when we're in this situation, the water's 3 feet deep here. We're super shallow. It's this deep. A lot of times the fish can get skittish. So coming in there with a big, heavy power bait can sometimes intimidate the fish. Let's turn around real quick, take a look at what we caught this fish on. Welcome to Bass University. Today, I'm talking about tidal fishing. One of the questions that we get asked from guys that are new to tidal fishing, or even guys that have been doing it a while but struggling with being consistent, is how to fish through the different tide cycles on any body of water. Because we're gonna face a high tide, an outgoing, a low, an incoming. There's all types of variations of the tide that we have to adjust to, whether we're talking about fishing grass, fishing wood, fishing rocks. Each one of those pieces of habitat are going to excel at a different tide phase of the cycle. So today I'm going to break that down for you. How to get in an area, how to identify the various types of habitat, and try to identify the time and the tide that those pieces of habitat are going to excel. So that's what we're going to do. And it's all about tide fishing. I grew up fishing the tides. I've spent so many years out here watching the tides come and go. I've seen the extreme conditions. We're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about the extremes. Blowout tides. You guys have dealt with that before. You know how difficult that can be. Equally as challenging is the flood tide. Right, when we've got immense wind or a giant moon phase that's really pushing a lot of water up into the system. Flood tides can scatter bait fish, it can scatter bass and make the bite incredibly tricky. So we're going to tackle all that stuff on fishing through the tides. So I want to have you guys get behind me over my shoulder and look at my Solix units. We're going to look at the tide charts on the Solix. That's where we're going to start. So come on around. Let's take a look. All right, here we are. We're looking at the mapping of the screen, of where we are right now. We're back up a little creek right here. And the first thing I'm going to do is push my home screen. And this is going to give me access to my tides. Which is what we're going to look at right now. I want to look at the tide charts here on my unit and explain a little bit about what we're looking at.